Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Tyrone, and I'm with the HIV Stop With Me campaign with the question of the month. The question this month is: have you been marginalized while doing your HIV advocacy, or for me, living with HIV? If so, how did you feel and how did you handle it? Well, for me, I could say that I have personally never been marginalized, but I do train people and work with individuals who have been marginalized. And my thing, what I have to give is the most important thing about if you've been marginalized is to provide education and support to those that have been marginalized. Whether it's if you're black, if you're living with HIV or not, practicing harm reduction, substance use disorder, or if you feel the trans experience. For me, it's one and the same. The people that I've worked with or trained that have been marginalized, my message is that the best message is education. That you have to educate people on things because a lot of times being marginalized means that it's lack of knowledge, it's ignorance. So I'll take for instance, I'm a black gay man living with HIV. Um, and some things I have to say may not be accepted by the quote unquote civilized community. But my message is for anyone living with HIV, period. Black, gay, cisgender women, or women of trans experience. It's the message that counts. So for me, it's about educating them, and I guess it's like if I'm a black man living with HIV, it's not it's not about me. It's about my story and my message. Because what matters most to anyone living with HIV, anyone of trans experience, anyone of any race, it's about the message. And the message for all that we're giving is to stay safe, to get in treatment, to be tested, to get on PrEP. And I know PrEP is a whole different story because that's a whole marginalized community. We have more people testing positive for HIV or more people in our communities living with HIV when you look at the numbers that are even offered PrEP. So it's about normalizing these conversations about sex, about HIV, about women's health issues. It's about normalizing these conversations and demanding um, equal justice because our health, and I have to take it to our health because there's so many things where we're marginalized with any community. I would say it's about just normalizing these conversations and having these conversations and bringing it up to our providers about um, well, I'll take me for an example. Living with HIV, regardless of my gender or race, we all need to have these conversations about HIV, women's health, and things like that. It's a conversation that needs to be normalized. And what's more importantly is it's more comfortable for us to talk about things with people that look like us. So as I think about it, maybe I could say I've been marginalized, right? Because if I'm, well, I do go to a doctor twice a month because I'm HIV positive, undetectable, so I see the doctor twice a year. And a lot of times we're talking to a doctor that doesn't look like us. Um, they may have some stigmas that's associated with our behaviors because they're not of our race, gender, or things like that. So they may look at things that we've experienced differently than we've experienced. So we may experience a certain stigma in the way they speak to us or the diagnosis or treatment that they give to us. So for me, it's about educating, even the doctors, nurses. It's about educating people as to what we deal with, how we live, and not just overview, a broad statement or a broad thing. Because a lot of times, and I hate the word and I'm like Well, it's a lot of times that we're stigmatized because the way we have sex, the type of sex we have, or the color of our skin, and things of that nature. So we have to normalize who we are and understand that there's an again, right? Understand that there's no one type picture for all. We're all individuals that have different needs, different wants, and we centralize things differently. We have different types of sex. We may all be gay, we may all be black, we may all be transgender, but it's not a one size fits all. So we need to normalize conversations that we have with our providers and let them know that let them know that the type of sex or the type of behaviors we're having may not fit the norm. So we need to have our behaviors addressed as people that we are. Black men, MSM, gay men, black women. Because we know that's a big thing too. Black women aren't treated equally as white women, trans women, people of trans experience aren't treated the same as regular women. And if that also depends on the type of woman you are, because you could be a trans man, but you still have the same body parts as a woman. So you need to be treated and have that same health experience as a woman. But because these conversations are normalized, we get treated differently. We have different experiences. So I guess that makes us marginalized. It's kind of different for me because I can't say that I've been marginalized because I present as a black man. So I have to wonder that am I getting the same treatment as a man that presents as gay, bisexual, transgender? So yeah, it's a lot of work that needs to be done because I can only speak on my experiences. And as we're having this conversation, it makes me think now that if I don't present as a black man, what experiences are my brothers and sisters having as gay? Because I'm gay, I may not present to the quote unquote what looks like gay, and it brings me back to what does someone with HIV look like? So I think it's a bigger picture that maybe I have to take myself into and think about. But it takes me back to being marginalized. What we have to think about is it's about education. It's about informing doctors, nurses. It's about education. And if you feel you're being marginalized, it's best to speak up. Find someone that you can speak to. I'm always available. And we have other spokesmodels that's available. And we do have other resources. So for me, if someone is feeling like they've been marginalized, talk differently about, it's about speaking to someone to get the resources that's available to you, to us, and taking a stand and normalizing these conversations. So, yeah, as you can see, I'm a little conflicted because I didn't think I was marginalized until I had this conversation. So it's some homework I got to do about myself, and as far as thinking about marginalized. But for this question, what I would say is it's about education, normalizing these conversations, and having the resources available. So, or if you are in that situation, you know how to handle it without, because we get raw like fuck that. But it's about normalizing conversations and having the resources available, the education that we need to teach these people that are marginalized in us, and having the way to fight back and educate people. So yeah, Gonna end it right there because when I first looked at this question, I was like, yeah, I didn't know how to answer this, and I spoke to Sheldon, and now as I'm talking about the question, it's like, damn, maybe I need to do some more research. And I think a lot of us may feel that way until we delve into the question and think about sort of things that we're dealing with, and we may say that we don't fit that mold of being marginalized. So when you think about the question and start thinking about it, we need to really think about the resources we have available and how we educate people. So yeah, that's it for me, and I'll see you next month on the question of the month. And have a good night, everyone. Thank you.